Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're walking straight through the flashing front doors of a casino to expose exactly how these multi-billion-dollar spaces operate. Because, spoiler alert, luck has literally very little to do with it. We're going to see how every single square inch of these buildings is mathematically and biologically engineered to alter your brain chemistry. Let's kick things off with a quote from our source material that completely shatters the illusion of the casino as just a fun, breezy weekend getaway. It says, casinos are not designed for entertainment. They are meticulously engineered psychological traps. I mean, wow, right? Everything from the pattern on the carpet beneath your feet to the actual air you're breathing is calculated to bypass your rational decision-making and, well, separate you from your money. Section 1. The Casino Maze. Entering the floor. So the second you step off the street and onto the gaming floor, you'll probably notice one thing right away. It is incredibly difficult to find the exit. This perfectly illustrates how the spatial psychology of casinos has evolved. Back in the day, we had traditional designs pioneered by Bill Friedman. This was the classic maze model. Think low, claustrophobic ceilings and confusing, winding pathways. The whole point was literally to get you physically lost so you just stumble onto a slot machine. But look at the shift to modern casinos. Today, they use David Crane's playground model. Think about those massive mega resorts. Incredibly high ceilings, lavish decor, maybe a soothing, massive indoor water fountain. Why the huge change? Well, because when you feel wealthy, safe, and totally relaxed in this giant adult playground, your risk awareness basically drops to zero. You completely let your guard down. And hey, while you're standing there admiring those soothing water features, take a look at what's completely missing from the walls. No clocks, no windows, zero. By entirely eliminating natural sunlight and timepieces, the casino pulls off total circadian rhythm distortion. Your body physically loses track of whether it's 2 p.m. after lunch or 2 a.m. in the dead of night. And without those natural, everyday cues telling your brain it's time to sleep or time to grab dinner, you just keep gambling. Section 2. The Illusion of Money, Fictional Currency. All right, so now that you're comfortably lost in this timeless maze, let's head over to the cashier's cage. The absolutely crucial point here is that once you hand over your cash, you aren't actually playing with real money anymore. Psychologists call this concept fictional currency. You're handed plastic chips, or your cash is magically transformed into digital credits on a glowing screen. And while that might just seem like a super convenient way to play, it is actually a profound psychological trick. It's designed to make the actual pain of parting with your hard-earned money completely vanish. I mean, just look at the stark contrast here. When your brain sees a crisp, real-world $100 bill, it immediately associates that with your hard work, right? It represents a week of groceries or paying the electric bill. It has tangible, heavy, real-world value. But the absolute second that $100 bill is swapped out for a little pink piece of plastic, the context completely flips. Suddenly, it feels like you're just playing Monopoly. Tricking your brain into feeling like it's just a harmless board game completely bypasses your normal financial hesitation, which encourages you to make much, much larger bets without even thinking twice. Section 3. Fake wins, losses as victories. So, armed with your stack of fictional currency, you sit down at a brightly lit slot machine. And this brings us to what honestly might be the most insidious psychological trick on the entire casino floor. Modern machines are built on a wild concept called losses disguised as wins, or LDWs. This is a highly manipulative tactic, where the machine pays you back less than your initial bet, but it still uses flashing lights and loud, celebratory music to frame that outcome as a massive victory. It's perfectly designed so that even when you are actively bleeding money, your brain is still getting flooded with dopamine. Let's break down the math on this to see just how crazy it actually is. Let's say you bet $5 on a single spin of a slot machine. The real spin, the bells ring, and the machine pays you back $1.50. Mathematically, you are in the red. You just lost $3.50. And yet the screen is screaming win at the top of its digital lungs. The coins clink, the music blasts, your brain's reward pathways light right up, interpreting this exact moment as a victory. You literally feel like a winner, even as your bankroll is shrinking right in front of you. But wait, the machines don't stop there. Casinos also deliberately program these things for what's called the near miss. Think about it. You need 3 cherry symbols to win the big jackpot. You get the first cherry, the second cherry, and then that third cherry stops just one single notch above the payout line. Oh, man, it feels like terrible luck, right? Wrong. It is literally programmed to do exactly that. The machine weaponizes that near miss to trigger your brain's frustration reward center. It violently forces this thought into your head. I was so incredibly close. I am definitely going to win on the next spin. It completely hooks you into continuing. Section 4. Sensory weapons, sights, and smells. Now, it's not just the glowing screen manipulating your brain. Let's pull the camera back a bit and examine the invisible atmosphere surrounding your machine. You're basically swimming in a calculated sensory bath. Have you ever noticed that a casino is never, ever silent? There's always this constant, steady, ambient hum. More specifically, slot machines are entirely tuned to the musical scale of C major. Why C major? Well, audio researchers know that it's universally pleasant and uplifting to the human ear. Add in the bright, flashing lights, and the casino is actively simulating this festive party-like environment. It creates a false sense of impulsive urgency that keeps your energy artificially high. But what is truly mind-blowing, and this really stood out when we were researching this explainer, is this massive 45% figure. Get this. Las Vegas casinos literally pump specific, patented, pleasant aromas into the air conditioning systems right onto the gaming floors. Scent is so strongly tied to human emotion and memory, and research actually proves that introducing these calculated, pleasant scents increases slot machine spending by over 45%. That is wild. They are literally making you spend more money through your nose. Section 5. The Perk Trap. Comps and Control. Finally, let's look at what happens when you step away from the slots and head over to the table games. When you play games like craps, blackjack, or roulette, the casino offers you a very specific, cozy psychological comfort, the illusion of control. They make you feel like your personal skill, or maybe your ability to read luck cycles, can somehow beat the system. But here is the brutal reality. Whether you're blowing on the dice for good luck or you've memorized some specific blackjack card strategy, the cold, hard mathematics of the house edge absolutely never changes. The math is fixed, my friends. So what happens when you inevitably lose against that fixed math? Well, the casino springs its final trap. Comps, or complimentary perks. Take a look at the true cost here. They might offer you a free $200 hotel suite, free top-shelf alcohol, maybe a steak dinner. But look closely at the reality behind these perks. This is a highly calculated reciprocity trap. When they hand you that free suite after a string of heavy losses, sure, it emotionally comforts you. But more importantly, it makes you feel subconsciously obligated to them. You feel like they treated you well, so what do? You go right back downstairs to the floor and lose another $2,000. That free room just paid for itself 10 times over. The truth is, the house doesn't win because they're luckier than you. They win on pure, unfeeling mathematics and weaponized human psychology. Once you understand the maze, the fictional currency, the sensory manipulation, and those fake wins, you really start to see the matrix for what it is. Which leaves us with one final, deeply unsettling question to consider the next time you walk through those windowless doors. If the only mathematical way to truly win is to just walk away before you even start, who's really in control? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. I hope it completely changes how you view your next trip to the casino. Keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.